Hello and welcome to 12 Minutes to Clat. My name is Nehil, your verbal mentor and your logical reasoning mentor. Critical reasoning assumptions. Now, when we studied the anatomy of an argument, it was very imperative that we figured out what are the assumptions in an argument. Okay. Now, when I talk about weakening an argument or strengthening an argument, in both the cases, if you're able to figure out what the assumption is, chances are that you've understood the argument very well. Okay. So today I have about 4 5 questions for you, which we'll only take a look at how to figure out what is an assumption. Now, what is an assumption for starters? An assumption is something which needs to be true for your argument to make sense, for the conclusion to make sense. So basically, you have a premise and you have a conclusion. An argument is that part of the information which bridges the gap between these two things. Okay, it joins the premise and the conclusion. Let's take a look at the questions now. First one. So Jonathan says the newspaper industry claims that e-papers, which one can read for free, as compared to the printed versions, and become available every month, and become every available early morning, adversely affect the readership of its hard copies. But the industry should be noted. The industry should note what the popularity of e-papers indicates. Readers want lower prices and quick morning deliveries. So what do we read? What do readers want? Readers want lower prices and quick morning deliveries. Okay. Lowering prices of printed papers and ensuring earlier deliveries daily would mitigate the e-paper's negative effect on the effect of the newspaper's readership of its hard copies. Mitigate is reduce. So what are we saying? This is the conclusion. If we lower prices and earlier deliveries, it would mitigate the e-paper's negative effect on the newspaper's readership of its hard copies. So we're saying if we deliver them at a lower price and if we deliver them early in the morning, chances are that we'll save them. The argument above relies on which of the following assumption? So see, what are we saying? We're simply saying lowering prices of papers and ensuring early deliveries would mitigate the e-paper's negative effect on the newspaper's readership of its hard copies. So what are we assuming in this case? We're assuming that people will go ahead and buy these if we lower the prices and ensure early deliveries. That's exactly what the assumption is. Simple as that, right? A says delivering printed papers earlier in the morning would not cause any reduction in the readership of the hard copies of the newspaper in the industry. We are not concerned with the reduction in the readership of hard copies. We only want the improvement of the readership of the hard copies, not reduction. So this is saying reduction nahi hoga. It's simply saying there will not be any reduction. What I'm looking at is to increase the readership. B says some people who would otherwise read e-papers would be willing to purchase their printed versions if these were less expensive and delivered earlier than they are now. So, some people who would otherwise read e-papers would be willing to purchase printed versions if they are less expensive and delivered earlier than they are now, which in turn would mitigate the e-paper's negative effect on the newspaper's readership of its hard copies, because those people who would otherwise read e-papers would go ahead and purchase hard copies if they were less expensive and delivered earlier. That's why B is my fair assumption. C says the newspaper industry will in the future be able to print papers more cheaply than is currently the case. We're not talking about the cost. We're talking about readership, mind you. Online presence of e-papers would be adversely affected if print versions were delivered earlier and priced lower. Online presence of e-papers, we are not trying to adversely affect the online presence of e-papers. We are only trying to increase the readership of hard copies. E says current readers of e-papers are aware that e-papers do not give the same pleasure as a printed version does. If this is the case, then they would anyway be reading hard copies. We won't have to do anything. So, best answer B. This is what the author is assuming when making a conclusion. Let's take a look at the next question. The pharmaceutical industry claims that counterfeit medicines, what is counterfeit? Counterfeit is fake, nakli, which are usually cheaper than legitimate medicines and become available well before the legitimate medicines, could reach the market, adversely affect people's health and hamper the profit of the industry. But the industry should note that what the spread of counterfeit medicine indicates. People want lower priced and easily available medicines. Lowering prices of legitimate medicines and supplying them sooner would mitigate the counterfeit medicines' negative effect on the health of people and the profit of the industry. I think it's on the similar lines to the last question, very similar. You deliver them, lower the price and supply them sooner, so negative effect on the health of people and the profit of the industry would be reduced, mitigate again. The argument above relies on which of the following assumption? Releasing legitimate medicines earlier would not cause any reduction in the revenue the pharmaceutical industry receives from the industry's hospital partners. Not concerned with this. Not cause any reduction is not my concern. Some people who would otherwise purchase counterfeit medicines would be willing to purchase legitimate medicine if they were less expensive and released earlier than they are now. Exactly the same reasoning as the last question, making B the right answer. C says the pharmaceutical industry will in the future be able to produce medicines more cheaply than is currently the case. We're not concerned with the cost, okay? D says some current sellers of counterfeit medicines would likely discontinue the business if legitimate medicines were released faster and priced lower. Some current sellers of counterfeit medicines likely discontinue the business faster, price lower. No, not my concern either. He says current purchasers of counterfeit medicines are aware that those medicines are not authorized by the pharmaceutical regulation body. Regulation body authority की हम बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम बात कर रहे हैं if we lower the prices and supply them sooner, what will happen? Some people would purchase them instead of counterfeit medicines, and thereby mitigating the medicine's negative effect on the health of the people and the profit of the industry. I think these two were very similar as far as reasoning is concerned. All right. If the airspace around centrally located airports were restricted to commercial airlines and only those private planes equipped with radar, most of the private plane traffic would be forced to sue outlying airports. Such a reduction in the amount of private plane traffic would reduce the risk of mid-air collisions around the centrally located. Such a reduction in the amount of private plane traffic would reduce the risk of mid-air collision around the centrally located airports. What are we saying? If the airspace around centrally located airports were restricted to commercial airlines and only those private planes which are equipped with radar, most of the private plane traffic, so we are saying only those private planes which are equipped with radar, most of the private plane traffic would be forced to sue outlying airfields. Guys, think about it. If I'm saying that I restrict this airspace to those private planes which are equipped with radar, most of the private planes would have to use another airport or another airfield, right? Understand this, okay? Only those planes are allowed which have an radar. That's why most planes would have to land otherwise. What are we assuming? That most planes do not have a radar. Simple. The conclusion drawn in the first sentence depends on which of the following assumption, I think we've already arrived at our assumption. A says outlying airfield would be as convenient as centrally located airports for most pilots of the private planes. Maybe, maybe not. But my conclusion is this part. Private planes equipped, if only those private planes equipped with radar can land here, most private planes would be forced to sue outlying airfields. B says most outlying airfields are not equipped to handle commercial airline traffic. We're not talking about commercial airline traffic. We're talking about private plane traffic. So irrelevant. Most private planes that use centrally located airports are not equipped with radar. Exactly. यही बात करी थी हमने. This is what we spoke about. Because most private planes that use centrally located airports are not equipped with radar, and only those private planes which are equipped with radar are allowed to land in this airspace. That's why most of the private plane traffic would be forced to sue outlying airfields. हम सिर्फ वो प्राइवेट प्लेन्स अलाउ कर रहे हैं जिनमें रेडार है. इसके बेसिस पे हम बोल रहे हैं ज्यादातर प्राइवेट प्लेन्स को बाहर लैंड करना पड़ेगा. क्या सोच के बोल रहे हैं? कि ज्यादातर प्राइवेट प्लेन्स के पास रेडार है ही नहीं. जो हम सोच के बोल रहे हैं वो हम अज्यूम कर रहे हैं. दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट एन assumption is. Okay. D says commercial airliners are at a greater risk of becoming involved in mid-air collisions than the private planes. We are not concerned with which one of them is at a greater risk. E says the reduction in the risk of mid-air collision would eventually lead to increases in commercial airline traffic. Irrelevant, a new point altogether. Increase हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है इससे हमें मतलब नहीं है. ठीक है. I think we get a hang of what an assumption is as well now. Yeah. Moving on. Traditionally, decision making by managers is reasoned step by step. Sorry, traditionally decision making by managers that is reasoned step by step has been considered preferable to intuitive decision making. However, a recent study found that top managers used intuition significantly more. Recent study found that top managers used intuition significantly more than did most middle or lower order managers. This confirms that the alternative view that intuition is actually more effective than careful methodical reason. Guys, we simply are saying that top managers are using intuition more than middle or lower level managers. On this basis, we are saying that intuition is more effective. On what basis? Because top managers are using it. So now you might say, obviously, but we are also assuming that the decisions that the top managers are making are good decisions. अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ टॉप मैनेजर्स इंट्यूशन यूज कर रहे हैं और उस बेसिस पे हम बोल सकते हैं कि इंट्यूशन यूज करना ही बेटर है, तो मैं ये भी तो मान रहा हूँ कि टॉप मैनेजर्स के डिसीजन ज्यादा इफेक्टिव है. यस. Conclusion above is based on which of the following assumptions? A says methodical step-by-step reasoning is inappropriate for making many real-life management decisions. If I say inappropriate, it's too far-fetched, too extreme. B says top managers have the ability to use either intuitive reasoning or methodical step-by-step reasoning in making decisions. This simply says that they are capable of doing this. All right. My conclusion is alternative view that intuition is more effective than careful methodical reason. It is based on the fact that top managers are using intuition more, right? C says the decisions made by middle and lower level managers can be made as easily by using methodical reasoning as by using intuitive reasoning. It does not help me at all. It does not help me in coming to this conclusion. D says top managers use intuitive reasoning in making the majority of the decision. Okay, that's what we are saying. But the conclusion is saying intuition is more effective. My assumption will directly be supporting the conclusion. Okay. Always supporting the conclusion. E says top managers are more effective at decision making than middle or lower level managers. Now, consider this. We are saying top managers are more effective at decision making than middle or lower level managers. अगर मैं बोलता हूँ top managers are more effective, सिर्फ तभी मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि उनका मेथड भी ज़्यादा effective है. So unless and until I am sure that top managers are more effective at decision making, I cannot say that their method is also more effective. I can only say the top manager's method is effective if their decisions are also equally effective, right? So E has to be true for this to make sense. Now listen to this, okay? Top managers are more effective at decision making than middle or lower level managers. Top managers used intuition significantly more. This confirms that intuition is actually more effective. Do you see where I'm going with this? Or if I use E after this line, top managers use intuition more significantly than did most middle, and top managers are more effective at decision making. Now I can say that intuition is more effective than careful methodical reasoning. Theek? Okay, let's do one last question for assumptions. Okay, interesting, right? Something that you can imagine happening in today's scenario. A famous singer recently won a lawsuit against an advertising firm for using another singer in a commercial to evoke the famous singer's well-known rendition of a certain song. Famous singer won a lawsuit against an advertising firm. Another singer, well-known rendition of a certain song. ठीक है, किसी बहुत फेमस सिंगर का कोई गाना लिया और किसी और ने गा दिया किसी एड के अंदर उसमें, राइट? तो उस सिंगर ने उसके ऊपर लॉसूट कर दिया और जीत लिया. As a result of the lawsuit, advertising firms will stop using imitators in commercials. As a result of the lawsuit, advertising firms will stop using imitators in commercials. Therefore, advertising costs will rise since famous singer services cost more than those of their imitators. Let's understand this, okay? There was a famous song, right? An advertising firm was making an ad. They called an imitator, somebody else to sing that song for them in the ad, and the singer won a lawsuit against that ad firm. Now we're saying that the costs of producing those ads will rise because the uh, because the famous singer services cost more than those of their imitators. राइट मैं बोल रहा हूँ अब कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगी एडवर्टाइजिंग की क्योंकि जो सिंगर गाना गा रहा है ओरिजिनल सिंगर उसकी कॉस्ट उसको वो गाना ज़्यादा महंगा पड़ेगा इमिटेटर कम में गा देता ठीक है easy question again. A says most people are unable to distinguish famous singer's rendition of a song from a good imitator's rendition of the same song. Guys, we are not concerned with people. वो singer तो समझ ही लेगा ना. Also, the singer and we are saying now they will only have to use the original singers. B says commercials using famous singers are usually more effective than commercials using imitators of famous singers. We are not concerned with which commercials are more effective. Okay? C says the original versions of some well-known songs are unavailable for use in commercials. We don't want the original songs. We want well-known renditions. Rendition is when you do it again, not the original song. D. Advertising firms will continue to use imitators to mimic physical mannerisms of famous singers. But we need the songs. Physical mannerisms does not help me at all. Look at E. The advertising industry will use well-known renditions of songs in commercials. Because they will use well-known renditions of songs in commercials, that is why advertising cost will rise. Why? Because these well-known renditions will be sung by famous singers, which will cost more. Get the idea? The original singer will take more money. That's why advertising cost will rise. Why will advertising cost rise? Because the people who are making the ads will continue to use those songs, and those songs will have to be sung by the original singer, and the original singer will take more money. That's how it works. So that's it as far as assumptions are concerned. I hope you've been able to make some sense of it. तो सीधी सी बात है, premises conclusion के बीच में जो part जरूरी है, unstated fact, that is an assumption, and will always be supporting your conclusion. All right, that's it from my side now. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.